I'm Harley Jones, and this is Levi. I'm originally from Montana, Missoula, Montana, and I'm living down in Oro Valley, Arizona now, which is just outside of Tucson.
What happened with Levi recently?
We were stopping at for a gas stop after being up in Montana for the holidays, and we stopped, and I let these guys out to get a little exercise while I was filling up, and he went out in front of the truck and ended up getting struck by another truck. And that scared him, so he took off running and got lost and was missing since January 4th, and I just got him back last night.
You've been searching for him for 23 days.
Yes.
And how has this been? How has it been on you?
It's been really tough on me, and especially when I had to go back down to Tucson, not being able to do anything. That was tough. And then getting the phone calls that they're starting to see him after I spent 8 days here and we only had one spotting of him. So after they had a couple more spottings, and on Sunday when they just about caught him, I jumped in the truck and was here on Monday morning.
They had a couple spottings on Monday.
Yes, they did. All kind of just along the same timeline. He was just kind of moving north down Pocatello Creek. And they had 3 spottings, and one guy just about caught him. And when he went to get him, his side by side slid a little bit, and it spooked Levi, and Levi took off again.
You must have been pretty happy when you found out that a bunch of people saw sightings.
Oh yeah, when I found that out and knew, especially Randy, who I'd done some searching with, and great guy, never met him before, and he just volunteered and grabbed his side by side and started looking, and when he said that he had seen Levi and just about grabbed him, then I knew it was him, and I threw my stuff in a bag and jumped in the truck, and we were here about 14 hours later.
And then what happened on Wednesday?
Wednesday he was spotted at 8 o'clock, and about 8:30 I got a call that he was up DeWall Lane, and I ran up there right away because I was just down at KOA, and I called for him and whistled for him, and a bunch of other people were out searching for him, and he never did show up. And then we searched for him all day, and then at about 6:45 I got a phone call saying, "Your dog's in my garage," and he goes, "You can come pick him up at about 8:30, I'll be home." So I went and picked him up, and he was just hanging out in the garage and acting like nothing happened. Just put him out in a truck, and he jumped up there, and it was like no big deal. And took him to the vet, and they checked him all out and said he's fine. He's definitely skinny, but he'll put that weight back on. And we got him on some good food, and he seems to be doing fine.
Excellent.
A little tired.
I bet. How much weight has he lost?
He has lost between 10 and probably 14 pounds. He's at 22 pounds right now, and we usually keep him between 32 and 36 pounds.
What was the reunion like?
Well, for me it was great. I couldn't believe we found him, and for him, he was just like it was just another day. But for me, it was wonderful, and I sent a picture to my wife that's over in Iraq of me holding him, and she couldn't believe it. So she started crying, and because she really couldn't do nothing being overseas, she couldn't do anything to help, but she made a bunch of phone calls and called the vets and called the pounds and humane societies and did all the calling in the morning to make sure he hadn't been found someplace else.
So when you were searching all across the Pocatello Creek area, what were some of the problems that you faced during the search?
Trying to track him with all the other coyotes involved. With the different tracks going everywhere and the deer trails that he can run, he covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. So trying to keep up with him, it was tough. And most everybody would let us on their property to go look. I never came across anybody that said we couldn't go look. And anybody we gave a flyer to said they'd go look. The people of Pocatello, couldn't ask for better people for helping me out. And the organization Paws, they're a wonderful organization. He was carrying his right leg, and he'd drag it every once in a while. And then later on when they spotted him on Monday, it seemed like he had switched and he was then holding his other leg, his left leg up. So, and that was Ed that was tracking him, and he did a great job putting on lots of miles, and that's when Randy just about got him with his side-by-side. And when they searched for him, he doesn't like the deep snow. He's not a very long-legged dog, so he tended to stay out of the snow and go under bushes, and so it was awful tough to track him that way. And just the amount of subdivision and open land that you have around here, it makes it tough. Happy he got him, that he was able to go in, was able to go right into his garage and didn't put up a fight.
How is he personality-wise?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, he's a real loving dog, but then he can come up with an attitude too. It just depends what mindset he's in. I mean, they're a real strong-willed dog, and if they don't want to do something, they're not going to, and they're unbelievably smart dogs.
How did Luke handle the separation over the 23 days?
It was really tough for him when we went home. He was okay when we were traveling because he didn't understand that Levi was actually missing. But when he got home and Levi was not at home, he searched the entire house, searched the backyard, and then went and got back into the truck and wouldn't get out of the truck. And I had to drag him out of the truck, and then once he went into the garage, he wouldn't leave the garage. He didn't want to come into the house. He wanted to find Levi. He wanted to know where Levi was at.
Well, I mean, you said the reunion was more joyous for you.
Oh, definitely more joyous when they finally met up. Levi's the dominant male, so even the shape he was in, he tried to be the dominant male and posture over Luke. Even though he was tired and malnourished and he still tries to be a tough dog.
How do you think he survived all this time?
I don't know. I mean, lots of people were putting out food all up and down Pocatello Creek, so we could have been getting food there, and we had plenty of rain out there while... Stay. You're okay. So, but I think he did a lot of hiding, because he didn't get spotted very often until the sun came out. So, he's a pretty smart dog, and he's been around lots of coyotes before, so he's smart enough to stay away from them and just hide.
And he's a red heeler.
A red heeler, yep.
Which is also known as an Australian cattle dog?
Yes.
What I've heard about red heelers is that they're a one person or a one family dog. And what somebody told me is that caused problems because he wouldn't go near anybody else.
Yes.
Whenever someone would spot him or call his name. You know, if you were out there, that may have been different, but...
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, it was to the state right now where he's in that he needed food and he needed water for him to go to somebody else. They just don't usually do that.
Yeah.
I mean, even with they spend a lot of time up at my folks' house, and even when my mom yells for him, this one's too hard-headed to come back. He just does his own exploring. But if I yell for him or my wife yells for him, they listen.
What do you think, Levi? You think he's happy to be going home?
I think he'll be happy once he gets home and gets in his own familiar territory and can just hang out. Get fed and hang out in the sunshine.
How old is Levi?
He's 11 or 12 years old. We got him and they thought he was a year to a year and a half, but they weren't sure. And we've had him, like I said, just over 10 years.
Has he ever run off before?
He ran off one time up in Montana for 6 days. And he hung out pretty close to my brother's house, but he wasn't familiar with the terrain, and he just couldn't get back to my brother's house. And I was able to find him on the 6th day. And he hadn't lost hardly any weight. 6 days was nothing for him. 3 weeks, a little tougher.
Yeah. He's a survivor.
Yeah, and that was a few years ago when he was quite a bit younger. But usually there's no problems with them. Usually they have to be startled or something like that. Otherwise, voice commands, they definitely listen. They're smart dogs. And that was part of the problem when he got hit, because I told him to heel and sit, and he did. He turned around and he sat down, and then the truck hit him. It was too late.
I see. And you had some help too, searching for him.
Lots of help. This town is wonderful for that. Like I said before, Randy with his side-by-side, he looked for him even when I was gone, he looked for him. And then Ed, another guy, he helped, unbelievable. He let me stay at his house, invited me into his home. And before now, I never knew the guy before that, before Levi went missing. And the Paws organization, they were unbelievable with getting people involved in searching. And then there's the other organization, the one off of Facebook. What is that? Bannock County?
Bannock County Lost and Found.
Yeah, they put tons of flyers up and searched for him and give me updates and Facebooked me, and that's another great organization that helped. We'd see lots of them going up and down the creek looking.
What did the vet say when they first inspected him last night?
They said for as long as he's been out there, he's doing really well. They ran the blood work on him, and they were surprised at how well the blood work was. There doesn't seem to be, except for the weight loss, there's really not any problems. Nothing wrong with his back legs or his hips or anything. So, and he does fine walking around and going upstairs, and can't really jump that good yet, so he'll have to get that back, because he used to be able to jump about 6 feet in there and catch a tennis ball. So hopefully we get him back to that. I'd like to thank all the people that did help with the search, and Joe Lynn with Paws with all the help she did, and Randy with the side by side, and Ed going out and looking and helping, and just everybody I don't even know about that was out looking. That people that I'll meet or that would get a hold of me on Facebook and say they're out looking. I'd like to thank all of them and just this community for everything they did. Couldn't ask for nicer people.